All right, we're rolling here. We are
Right,
going
we're
to
going to get into the debacle.
we are going to get into this overtime debacle that has been something for decades, that there's always seems to be a problem with overtime, especially when we head into the playoffs. So if anybody's been watching football, the Kansas City game versus Buffalo was unbelievable. Then at the end, overtime, flip the coin, Kansas City gets the ball, they score a touchdown, and it's over. You know, Josh Allen doesn't even have a chance to do anything. He's almost paralyzed. So they're talking a lot about this. And did you see Andy Reid? Because he talked about, if I'm not mistaken, this happened to him when he played New England once before. And now that he benefited from it, I still think he spoke out against it because he still didn't think it was fair because the other team never got the ball.
Well, one of the things that I like about the NFL and always have is that they're willing to look at and change the way it operates in order to make it more fair. And that's very rare in sports. You don't see that a lot. So specifically here, overtime used to be until somebody won.
Exactly.
There would be multiple overtimes. It was sudden death after the first overtime, I believe. Now they did it if you kick a field goal, the other team still gets an opportunity. But if you score a touchdown on the first drive, you win, and that's it. End of story. I don't like it. I'm going to be straight with that. I really don't like the way that it operates right now. I think they'll hone in on it and get better. Maybe they'll come up with something with the offseason. I'm not sure how you mitigate this problem because there might be always some – you can't let it end in a tie, not in the playoffs.
Yep.
So you have to do something. I think the quarterback should duke it out instead. No, I'm just kidding.
Like soccer. At the end, they all a kickoff. You got five of your best players. They go against each other. Wouldn't that be funny? 5-on-5 or something?
No, but for real, I think that we may need to, or the NFL may need to do something here. But what could they do? You have ideas?
I had an idea because I'm crazy with these ideas. Not sure if this would work or not. But I understand, for one, not going to too many overtimes because, especially during the season, because of injuries and your fatigue. If you got a short week, you're playing Monday and you got to play Sunday, or if you're on Thursday, you know what I mean?
Honestly, I think the bigger picture there is that they noticed that nobody wants to watch that.
You mean, I think people believe it or not, I think the games that go longer overtime because of sponsors and advertisers, they like that if it keeps going.
Sponsors, I'm talking about the consumers, don't want to watch a game that long.
It could get too long, especially if it's on the East Coast. Let's call it for what it is. When you start, especially Monday night games or Thursday night games or Sunday night late games, you're going into midnight, 1 a.m, and then it is what it is. But I thought maybe instead of a flip of a coin, and believe me, I like the life of chance when you flip coins, but I thought maybe something that was done throughout the game. So it could be whoever scored or whoever had the most yardage, say, for instance, or whoever has the best record towards the end gets the ball first or has some type of advantage instead of just saying, okay, we tied. See, basically football comes down to whoever has the most points win. But if you're both equal at that point, what's the next phase of it? Why are we going to a coin? Like, points could be one thing and say yardage is another. So
the coin is only unfair because if you happen to be able to score on the first drive, then it seems unfair because the other team didn't even have an opportunity.
But if you give somebody an opportunity, though, or if you include something else, so if you say you get in a tie, whoever has the most yardage, hypothetically, right? Whoever has the most yards, they're the ones who get the ball first. So when they're playing the game, there's another thing going on saying, hey, if this thing goes into a tie, we still want to have the advantage in the tie. And that should be a benefit, not something where we're both, it's a tie game. We're going to start all over. Let's flip a coin. And now, you get it or I get it. And you get to pick what side and take it from there. I just thought there's another component there that could be used.
And that would give them the ball first, you're saying, or
yes, or if you have a better record. So say if you want to have a better record in the NFL, right? I'm just saying, like most people, but if you think about every tie game, whoever has the better record gets the ball first. Now there's a different dynamic of that. I'm just
Yeah, but
using that for an
then you
example.
still have the same problem of, okay, so they get the ball first and then they score on that opening drive. A lot of people, I think, that in this Buffalo game just felt that they didn't have an opportunity to fight for the playoff win.
I get it. I get it 100%. It's almost, if you're going to go tit for tat, though, say you score, that person scores a touchdown, then he gets the ball, he scores a touchdown. It may end up one of those games. Say the next one doesn't, then the next one doesn't. Like you said, it's going on forever.
I think that you should play out the whole overtime, and then whoever has the most points at the end of it wins. If it ends in a tie, then you go with the record or whatever, something else.
Yeah, I like that too. But again, I don't know if a lot of these teams are going to want to go a whole nother quarter, especially when they're banged up or there's injury, or depending on, there's a lot of variables there. Let's call it for what it is when you get into overtime.
Well, let's also say that Buffalo lost that game. Kansas City didn't win that game. Buffalo lost that game because in the last, he shouldn't have kicked it out of bounds. Buffalo did too many things wrong where they could have put themselves in a better position to not allow Kansas City to score there. 13 seconds.
Yeah.
Baby goat.
Yeah, he won it. That's all that matters. And like I said, there should be something else to determine that you have an advantage in overtime. Because like say I wrestled throughout my life, right? When it went to overtime, we were equal. It just went on for another certain amount of time. And then you'd go from there. But in this case, you're not really equal all of a sudden because of the way it's set up. So
100%. So getting the coin toss is definitely, if you win the coin toss, it's definitely not fair. But it's also fair because they already have home field advantage too on top of it. So
yes,
there's some unfairness built into it, and some of it is on purpose. I like the home teal, the 12th man on the field. It gives the stadium opportunity to be part of the game. The average Joe can like start screaming and knocking on chairs and whatnot.
It's good. So anyways, that was my 2 cents. Just something throughout the season that gives you a benefit in overtime that you can fight for.
So you're saying actually during the season, if a game goes into overtime.
Correct. So if depending on your record, so you're both, whoever had a better record at the end, when you hit that, unless you're equal, that's another problem. If you both have the same. So you
think that the big unfairness here is toss?
Is what?
Is the coin toss itself?
Yeah, I do, because I think you have to have, I just think it's unfair to flip a coin after fighting throughout an entire season, dedicating your life to it. You flip a coin, they get the ball, or I get the ball, and then they have a chance to score. The other offense had nothing to do with it. And I just think it's got to be more valuable to me. Or
called the coin toss?
What'd you say?
Who called the coin?
I don't know. It's usually the visiting team.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Usually the visiting team has that.
All right. I mean, so there's some fairness in that, but yeah, I'm with you. Coin toss, you're leaving it to chance where it wasn't chance the entire season of you winning those games and everything else.
Yeah, it's like a record. You're fighting throughout the year to have a better record to get into the playoffs. Why not include that into overtime? It's basically the same thing. If it goes to overtime, you have a better record at whatever you're doing, something like that. And if it's not that, like I said, it could be yardage. It could be whatever.
It would actually change the game. It would make the last game of the season actually important.
It would make it. Yeah, absolutely. But each game that goes on is important because, but I know you're all starting off at 0. So if you had the first game and there's a tie, how do you determine that?
Right. Well, then in that case, it wouldn't, maybe just for week 1, you have, or you go back to the, no, that's not fair. I don't know. I don't think I don't know. You don't have
I thought it was yardage kind of during a game or something that's like whoever has the most, whatever it is.
So yeah, that would work for game 1 too. If
running yards, passing, whatever stats that you want to include, there's something throughout that game that if it goes to overtime, you're fighting for not only the game to win, but if it goes overtime, you get the benefit and you're fighting for that position.
Whoever has the higher average bench press.
There it is. All right, we're going to wrap it up. That's it, my friend.
Thank you, Rich. Good times.
All right.